a discipline that requires total focus, but will revolutionize your life if you're able to do it.
When you're trying to become successful, a lot of people are going to tear you down, and they're going to tell you you can't do things, and what you're doing is impossible because it's never been done before. And that can really hurt you. But what you need to do is learn how to let that not affect you in any which way. And in fact, turn those hate comments and those denials into something to fuel you and motivate you.
It's when we're treading uncertain paths that we find lessons that will help build our future.
You're going to want to take everything that everybody says and turn that into motivation for you to keep striving forward and for you to eventually prove them wrong. If they're telling you what you're doing is impossible, or if you can't do it because it's never been done, you want to let that hit you hard and let you sit on that and focus and figure out a way to prove them wrong and tell them it is possible. I can do it. Now it can take years, but it's going to be worth it, because when you tell them you've done it, the look on their face will be incredible.
That is the most deep understanding of one's role in life and not getting lost in other people's identities and perceptions of you.
It's not going to be easy though. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to go through hard situations. You're going to do things you don't like to do. But all in all, it will help you grow, and you're going to learn how to achieve your goals. And once you do, it's going to be a feeling of true bliss, because you went from people telling you you can't do something all the way to people telling you that whatever you do next is going to be successful because it's coming from you. Somebody who's so determined, somebody who's so focused and goal-oriented that they will do whatever it takes to get whatever is done.
Balance isn't having everything all of the time, because that's impossible. And we talk a lot about today self-love and self-care, but I think, a lot of that starts with self-knowledge creates self-trust. And a lot of it's like learning to trust ourselves. And it's like, if I don't know what I love about myself, how am I ever going to trust myself? How am I going to trust that I have my best interest at heart? And so asking yourself, what do you love? And then the third and final question I think I would ask myself is who do I want to be, right? Who is the person that I need to be that I can love, that I want to love, that I want to give more love to? Like, what parts of growth are there still available? And there's one thing I want to add, which isn't a question, but it has been a really reaffirming or deepening affirmation for me that I keep reminding myself. Literally some days I'll just put my hand on my heart and I'll just repeat to myself, I'm exactly where I need to be. It's just such a great reminder. Like, if you literally put your hand on your heart and you just go, I am exactly where I need to be, you stop getting lost in the future, you stop worrying about the past, and you realize that everything you need to learn, everything you read right now to make a change, it's all right now, it's all right here. Very different. From 14 to 18, I was like this kid who just wanted to try new things out. And my parents' rhetoric would always be, well, make sure you get a good grade. And I kind of just went because one of my friends forced me to. At that time, I was listening to CEOs and entrepreneurs and business people and marketers who I thought that's what I was aspiring to be like. And then I hear this monk. That is the beginning, without me going into too much detail before we probe, that was the beginning of what changed me. Because I went from being someone who did only want all those things to become successful and trying to, but I started hearing my own inner voice much more in all that noise that I had around me. I remember one of my parents had a maths tutor for me because they wanted me amazing at maths. And I was pretty good at numbers, and I'd have this tutor and he'd tell me that, he goes, the reason that you're struggling with the next question is because you're always worried about what your parents think. And that really stayed in my head. I was just like, wow, so as long as I'm trapped by what my parents think, I can actually never find the answers to the real questions of life. Every break I got, half of it I spent interning at financial companies in London. And so I'd be in bars, steakhouses, and suits. And then I'd spend the other half of my summers living as a monk in India. And then when I graduated, I decided to do it for real. So we would wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and half of our day was dedicated to self or silence, and the other half was service. So you'd spend half the day working on yourself. So that means self-study, self-meditation, silence, group meditations, prayer, the type of things you expect monks to do. And that's like half of your day. But then the other half is totally about service. So we would be building schools, we'd be feeding homeless children, we'd be trying to develop sustainable villages and food distribution programs that were helping and serving tons of people in India. And so I chose this path because it was this perfect balance between self and service. And the way it was taught to us is that everything you do in the part of the self day, you then go and give it away in the service, and you learn more, and then you come back and do more self-realization and then service. What I try and imbibe in my videos and live by is that I believe that we all have a finite number of breaths and we all get an opportunity to make them count. And there's a beautiful thought by Maya Angelou where she said, people will forget what you did, people will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And for me, that's what we've got. All of us have this limited amount of time, and all that's going to be remembered is how we made people feel. And so for me, my videos are all about how am I making people feel. If I can give people a feel of self-worth, a sense of personal growth, a sense of confidence, a sense of self-esteem, whatever it may be, I want to use my living time doing that. So I was like, it's a no-brainer. So that's how at an early age, it was just an experiment. And that's why my consistent recommendation to anyone listening is experiment with stuff. Like, try stuff out. Go and live it for a week. Live it for a weekend. Don't just think about it in your head. Like, get out of your head and get into action. So if I just thought about it, I probably wouldn't have done it. But getting to experiment with it taught me so much.